Handy terms to criticize the regressive left, SJWs, and fourth wave feminists. Hey, it's Prince of Queens. I understand that a lot of people are still just hearing about the term SJW, which obviously stands for social justice warrior or social justice wanker or social justice whatever. But once you learn the term and start watching people who criticize regressive leftists, which is part of the left that is pro bigotry as long as it is towards white men, including gay white men, you usually want to learn more about their foot soldiers. You know, the useful idiots like fourth wave feminists and SJWs, which I define in other videos, which are almost unanimously the same thing. Once you start watching YouTube channels like my own, you'll start hearing a few terms that I want you to know. A lot of these have been popularized by Milo Yiannopoulos, and while I consider myself alt-left and not alt-right, these are still incredibly useful terms when navigating these situations. 1. Virtue signaling. I have made a video about this before which goes into more detail, but virtue signaling is the act of writing or saying something with at least a partial intention of showing how good of a person you are. Changing one's profile photo to Black Lives Matter on Facebook is an act of virtue signaling by itself. So yeah, you can, if you see your friends doing that, you can comment virtue signaling, and half the time that they won't even know what that is. 2. Identitarian. This is a term for an apolitical person who thinks that they are political, but they don't really know anything about politics and they only care about identity politics. They will protest the building of a juvenile prison, but they don't know anything about public education, the school to prison pipeline, or any other reasons why kids are ending up in jail. I think most identitarians protest for protest's sake alone and want deep down to keep it that way. Getting things done is boring and too hard. They'd rather have an excuse to hang out with the other cool kids and make signs. 3. Transgenders. People who pretend to be trans just to score oppression points so that their opinions are more valid. I cover this in another video. 4. Cuck. This is the best insult for describing a male feminist. It is short for cuckold, which describes a man who is married to a woman that cheats on him and he raises her children, which were not his. Obviously, this is a metaphor in most instances, but it is perfect to describe men who attempt to propel an ideology like fourth wave feminism that ultimately generally really hurts men. It's better to call guys cucks than things like bitches or pussies because feminists can call those names sexist. 5. Cry-bully. This is a term used to describe people who bully individuals generally on the internet, but are convinced that they are oppressed simultaneously. They have absolutely no intention of having a civil conversation or even attempting to change your mind on a subject. I think most of these people are just individuals who were picked on at some point in their life and never realized that their shitty behavior towards other people has consequences. They think that because they are a trans-identifying woman with a beard, that they can be mean to everybody in the universe, and it doesn't matter because they are the most oppressed. They'll get their friends to join in, and they also like to lie about people a lot. 6. The Tumblrina, or Tumblrite. You see, although I have avoided Tumblr personally like the plague because my Facebook feed is bad enough after knowing literally thousands of SJWs as long as I have, Tumblr is apparently the heart of fourth wave intersectional feminist SJW cancer on the internet. Therefore, occasionally you run across a person whose logic is so detached from reality that you have to assume it came from Tumblr blogs. They call these people Tumblrinas, and they are pretty amusing. They seem to think that they invented the next step of human evolution over the past few years, which will be a genderless race of people where white people are purposefully and eternally marginalized by the rest of people, and that's fair, because fuck white people and cis people, and yeah. 7. The Gaytriarchy. This one is kind of on the thin line between anti-SJW culture and fourth wave feminist culture because there are some current feminists who will actually use this term to refer to gay men that they don't like. Obviously, considering the vision of what fourth wave intersectional feminism believes to be the patriarchy happens to be completely bunk and idiotic, referring to the gaytriarchy is beyond the limits of anything reasonable and honestly would get you laughed out or kicked out of a lot of gay bars. So I think we gay guys should reclaim this term and use it to mock fourth wave feminists when they start talking smack about us, lying about how we supposedly frequently sexually assault women, which is coming up more and more. If you haven't heard them say it, you'll hear it. And saying we are even more misogynistic than straight men, which they also like to say. You can just tell them, oh yeah, you caught us. The gaytriarchy is organized and powerful. All hail RuPaul. 8. Big Red, Trigglypuff, and AIDS Skrillex, plus Carl the Cook. These are the 4 biggest SJWs to become internet famous, and you can get a good 20 minutes of belly laughs by YouTube searching all of them. You'll find all sorts of remixes and silly edits, and each of them totally deserves to be made fun of. Big Red is this awful feminist activist that protested some event, I think in Canada, that they got on video, that almost comes across like she is acting because the things she said were just so insane. But I guess she was serious. Trigglypuff was this morbidly obese girl with a rather shrill voice that went to the speaking engagement at UMass, where Milo Yiannopoulos, Christina Hoff Sommers, and Steven Crowder all spoke, and she basically yelled at them the entire time, and people got her on camera a bit. Finally, AIDS Skrillex and Carl the Cuck were together protesting at a Trump rally and yelled at some dude a lot, and it was on camera. The most famous bit is AIDS Skrillex yelling basically, "You're a white male!" over and over, even though he's obviously white too. People refer to that one line as well, so if you see people typing on the internet, "You're a fucking white male!" in all caps, they're probably talking about that. Okay, that's it for tonight. Make sure you tune in tomorrow night, where I will be appearing as a guest on Conspiracy Channel's Jungle Apocalypse at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's, once again, Conspiracy Channel, Jungle Apocalypse, 8 p.m. I'll be on it. Prince of Queens. Check me out. It's my first appearance. Okay,